Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Nettie Kaye. This is our 4th episode in our Beginning Oil Painting series. I hope you're beginning to get over your fear of painting and try a few of these little exercises. Last week we did a sphere, and the first 2 episodes we talked about materials and colors. So if you missed them, go back and watch them. Today we're going to do a simple cylinder. Now our cylinders are so important because we make flower vases out of them, we make tree trunks, we make arms and legs and elephant trunks and all kinds of things. Go out and see if you can find where you see a few cylinders outside even. All right, I've got an 11 by 14 speedball panel today. Speedball panels are very inexpensive masonite type panels that have a gesso covering on them. They're very, very good for practicing. Not as archival as some of the ampersand panels and that sort of thing. But for today, they'll do just fine. Okay, so I've also got a few colors of paints. I've got a purple, I've got a viridian green, which is a greenish blue, kind of a little bit like this, and some white and a little bit of Naples yellow, and a little jar of what's called Neo Magilp Klingon from Maroget medium. It's a gel medium that just makes your paint go a little bit farther per stroke. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pick up a little bit of purple paint and some of the gel medium so that it will move faster. And I'm going to take a stroke and I'm going to move about a 6 or 7 inch straight line down on one part of the canvas, the board, and I'm going to go on this side and do a second one parallel to the first. I'm hoping that they're going to be pretty close to being parallel and straight up and down. Now if you're doing a curvy vase, there's another technique for that, and we'll get into that in another episode. But these are 2 straight up and down perpendicular lines. I think you can get this. No, we're not perpendicular. Help us. Parallel lines. Don't mess that up. Okay. Now, the next thing that I teach my kids in the We Da Vinci Art Academy, ages 5 through 11, is to make these 2 lines smile between them. There it is. It's got a smile because the vase is round. All right. Now at the bottom, I don't just draw a straight line between those 2 lines. What do? I now go back in and I put a matching smile, as much as I can possibly match that top smile. I'm going to match the bottom smile in the same way. So I'm matching, I'm making a mess. Matching smile. This is the cool thing about this board. You can just wipe it off when you screw up. Okay, and then on the top, then I'm going to also make this top go the opposite direction in its little roundity. I don't want to make it look like a football. I do want to make it look more like an ellipse. So make sure that these areas where it comes together over at the side are round. Don't make them like this. No. Okay, now I'm just going back over that. And then, like we did with our sphere, I'm going to put it on a table. All right, the table, I just take a line and I bump up, I bump up against this line right here. I don't go right through it. That'd be dumb. I would end up with the table in front of the vase. I want it to go behind, so secretly I jump over and I come out on the other side and I come out here. There we go. Now it's already starting to look like it's really sitting on a table. How's the next thing? I put another shadow. I'm grabbing a dark color. It can be any dark color, really. And I'm going to put a line coming out here and a line coming out here. This is halfway because the light's coming from over here in our picture. This is about halfway or a little bit beyond in the vase. I start the line, I take it out straight, I take this one out fairly straight, and then I'll kind of just give it a little roundish edge and fill it in a little bit. That's just the easy way to do it. And then I'll make it shadowy right there. Now when you go back in, your shadows are not going to have hard edges, otherwise it looks like there's a big hole in the table. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. What else can I do with this dark tone? Well, if the light's coming over here and hitting this side of the vase, a shadow will occur on the inside lip of the side where the light's coming from. So I'm going to basically fill that up about halfway with the dark tone. And I also have this dark in one more spot. Oh, in fact, I'm going to grab the bigger brush for this. This one is a Dick Blick Wonder White brush that is in a size 20. And it's about an inch wide. All right, it's flat on the edge, flat. And so then I'm going to make sure it's nice and juicy. I've got big dark value going from the top to the bottom. Even at this point, it's really starting to pull out, isn't it? Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. And here's where I'll add a little bit of, a little more of that middle of the road Viridian with purple and some more of the Neo May Gelb Super Gel. All right, here we go. I'm going to put the next stroke next to that in a lighter stroke right next to it. And then I'm going to take that same brush load and I'm going to put it next to the dark, creating a feeling of kind of reflective light coming off of here. Okay, off the table or wherever it's bouncing from. We're not really too sure. Okay, the next thing I do is I'm going to add a warmer color, as the light in this picture is going to be warm. This is Naples yellow with a little bit of white and again some more gel so that the brush goes fast. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to hook it up to the lip and move it down. There we go, down to the bottom. That middle stroke a little bit longer, we'll get to that. And then I'm going to go almost straight white with the next one and put it maybe at a slight angle and make it even brighter. And then go back into that middle tone again, push it off with a middle tone because it's going back into space. If I aim for a light on that side, it looks like it's cut out of paper. We're not making paper dolls here, no. Okay, so it looks a little bit weird, but we'll get there. I'm going to now take that light color again, and this is the Naples yellow with white, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it on this side, coming into the vase, and it's hitting the brush that's been worn out a little bit. Your brushes go through kind of a life of their own. Start out, you know, your brights are really sharp, and then eventually they get worn down to this kind of fuzzy thing. They still have a purpose, and this is the purpose. I'm going to now go between these, and I'm going to make little teeth going back and forth, kind of back and forth, and I go over them this way, and then I wipe the brush off, and I'll go next to that, and I'll do the same thing, kind of going into the dark, wipe the brush off again, move the other direction, back and forth, back and forth. And then I can go back with my clean, big, fat brush and take very, very, very lightly, just like feather going down that, and just kind of smooth out those little marks a little bit like that. I can do that on each one of these little stripy things that we've created. I'm going to go back in and kind of put those together, wipe the brush off, put those together, squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. Each tone value, each stroke that we put together, I'm going to mix them together by squiggling the brush back and forth. I got to bring that down a little ways. It's the very middle part should be the longest part, okay? Should go down the farthest. All right, and here's that light going into that middle tone as it goes back into space, and we'll shape that thing out a little bit. I don't want a rough, or I don't want a sharp edge on the edge of that as it's going back. Anything that goes back into space is going to be soft. Your face, a ball, anything that goes back into space that's a round thing especially is going to have a soft edge. You can get that with an edge of your finger, with a Q-tip, with a dry brush, little bits of rag, that sort of thing. That's how we get that. Okay, now it's just a matter of cleaning up some of this, and now I'm going to pull that around and make that make sense. A lot of brush wiping off at this point. And then I will, oh, also I'm just realizing that at the very top, right here, I should be able to see a little bit of a white rim at the top of that. take a look at what you're painting too, because the more you look at stuff, the better you get at painting anything or drawing anything. You just keep looking and saying, what does that really look like? Right now I'm going to go back where I did all these squiggly things, and I'm going to take this soft brush and I'm going to lightly again with my little feathery pressure, no pressure, and flatten out my brush. I think I had a hole there. Boom. Flatten out my brush and then kind of smooth out those little squiggly marks, my little squiggles back and forth. This is pretty extreme, so I might go back in again and give that a little bit more of I'll expand it out a little bit. And then I'll go back the opposite direction. So I'm putting it down one way and then affecting it the opposite way with my brush, back and forth like this. Okay. Now I've lost something up here, so I'm going to now re-establish that edge. There we go, something like that. When you're sitting directly in front of your painting, you'll have a much better shot at getting it to look just right. Okay, what's important right here is the table. The table is important, and so here's the big tip of the day. Big tip of the day, outside of how to make a cylinder. Contrast is key to making your painting work. So if this is the dark side of my vase right here, I am going to contrast it with, that's right, light. All right, so I'm going to come in with the light, shape that out, and I'll push the light yellow that way and right up to the vase. Sometimes painting the background after you paint the object. I mean, you want to kind of do it all at the same time. But it's a little bit like putting on your long johns after you've got your snowsuit on, okay? Which is what I'm wearing, in case you're wondering what I'm wearing. Okay. Now I'm going to give this some nice, bright, warm yellow white, and we'll just kind of come around this. I'm also going to soften the edge of the shadow. And what if I just make this a little bit darker? Ooh, a little brighter. I mean, oh my goodness, I got a little darker yellow is what I got. I like it. It's nice. It's sunny. Makes me feel happy. We have about 6 feet of snow right now. Yes, it's true. It's middle of winter. It's always the middle of winter, about 7 months out of the year. And so now I'm going to warm this up. And so we need warm colors, and that's why I paint so brightly. I'm convinced that's part of the reason why I paint so brightly, is because there is no color out there. I love it. It's beautiful. But whoa, man, where's the color? Okay, so if I've got a light color here, and I'd like to go back into a little darker color over there, will that work? We'll find out. Okay, I'm going to now add some purple to this yellow and make this in a darker tone. Isn't that neat? Look at that. So what I've done is I've taken the Naples yellow, added purple, and made it into this wonderful darker value of the same kind of thing. If you go back to our complementary color lesson, which was number 2 on the episode 2, we'll talk about complementary colors, as in purple up against yellow. Now, when I wanted to darken that yellow, what did I put in it? And put a darker yellow. I put purple in. It's the complement of the yellow, and that worked, didn't it? Yeah, it did. All right. Okay, I think that's probably all we need to do for today. I don't want to drag it out. I want you to get out there, grab some paintbrushes or some pencils, practice, practice, practice 15 minutes a day in your drawing, and if you can, do an hour of painting a day, and you will get better. I'd love to hear from you. I absolutely love sharing what I know with you. And so please leave your positive comments, I don't want to hear anything negative that just bums me out. Leave your positive comments and your questions and any suggestions as to what you'd like to see me paint next below. And be sure to subscribe, and you'll know what we're going to be doing next. You'll be notified when the next video comes out. All right, we're going to be on episode 5, and I'll do a little bit of the cone shape in the next one. Maybe I will. And also, I'd like to teach you how to paint a wine bottle in about 5 strokes. Oh, well, it might take a few more than that, but I'll give you the basis for doing a wine bottle in the next episode. Yeah, that would be a good one. All right. Thanks again for watching, and check out my Etsy site while you're at it. See if you can find anywhere where I might have used this shape. Okay. See you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.